welcome to the test of the Rhino Room. Did I just sit on a squeaker on my first episode of the Rhino Room? At least it wasn't a whoopee cushion. That would have been more embarrassing. Let's see if I should move this thing down a little bit more. Well, it seems to be kind of stuck, but that might work. I just can't tell. I'm new at this. So this is the Rhino Room. This is a much ballyhooed in certain circles. What exactly this is about. As much as I've tried to explain to people that it's impossible to determine what it's about because I don't know what it's about yet. I can give you a few guesses at what it might be about. There's going to, without a doubt, be as far as unusual for a sports and entertainment type of a background in person, as well as law. There's going to be a lot of law in this, and there's going to be a lot of questioning of law and questioning of authority in a peaceful manner. I learned the hard way that if you don't do that right, then the powers that be will try to quiet you up or make you into some kind of a raving maniac, which has always been odd to me. In that when you go to law school when you're young or whatever, you learn about the Constitution and equal rights, and yet if somebody becomes a serious equal rights attorney, equal rights for blacks, equal rights for everybody, and I mean not just the tagline that people say, I mean equal rights, all the way equal, and we're not even close to that with racism and things. So those things will come up. Lots of sports. The four-seam dream is my dream. Neuro awareness for athletes, for veterans, and for all of us. I advocate for homeless people because I've been in that situation. Although you'll find out later, I own a substantial amount of assets that were taken from me when I was in a state that a lot of homeless and veterans probably are, and I'm still trying to get out of it. But I keep the spirit up, I keep the faith up, I keep knowing that the truth is the truth and God's gonna let it come out somehow. And so I decided to get going here and not wait for everything to be perfect, which it certainly is not. I have another possible surgery. I have a fiduciary holding $30,000 of mine that won't give it to me unless I move to a state that he wants me to go to, although every single thing that I have is here. But I won't name names because that's not my thing now. I've kind of blasted out on LinkedIn quite a bit because I had up to 20-something thousand followers and meetings with just about the who's who of everyone in America until I was hacked out of it, and my phones and my emails and my contacts and my friends, and so I was not able to get in touch with anybody. I apologize for that. Most of you haven't heard probably anything. The word on the street was because of some type of, for later discussion, it was more convenient for me to be thought I was crazy after the surgery for monetary purposes in a very complex myriad of events and marriages between a matrix of dynamics that I don't know. We would need there'd need to be an entire class for a year, and not a regular class like with lab, like with 4 extra hours. But primarily sports and entertainment. You know, I have a frontal left lobe injury. That means that I forget like my wallet, things like that. I can't organize. It's hard to bend over and clean things up, or my migraines come in. But my right brain, as I call it, almost like a movie where somebody gets dinged on the head and they turn into a spider or something. Come on, Michael, that was weak. He got bit by a spider. but people get smarter or something. I don't know. Maybe it's because the left brain, the left frontal lobe controls ego, names, currentness. You have incredible empathy for people. It doesn't really show because that part of the brain doesn't express itself, and it's hard to explain what we do, but it's hard for it to live in the current moment. Like, as much as I know about sports and have dedicated my life to it, I won't know what season it is or what month it is. The last two birthdays I had, I was at the doctor signing in the deal and wrote out the date, and I was like, oh, it's my birthday. But the law side is kind of like an autistic that focuses on one thing. I just am gobbling it up like never before. And with my background as a Louisiana Supreme Court clerk, I clerked for the Second Circuit Court of Appeal. Took the Texas and Louisiana bars. Took Napoleonic Code, which Louisiana, most people know. Everybody doesn't, though. So forgive me if I say things you already know. But Louisiana is the only state in the United States that operates under the Napoleonic Code. In other words, it is the source for the for all of the trials and all of the see, I can't think of words with TBI. That's part of why I'm wanting to do this, is to make people aware of what it is that's the problem, that it's not what they think it is. The what's the word for jurisprudence? So the jurisprudence passes down very similar to common law, but it's based on the Napoleonic Code. The differences are not as noticeable in watching a trial or watching a practice. It's more subtle, and every other state operates, of course, under the English common law that does the opposite. They basically take the see, I've already forgotten the word. You know it, the word for all of the cases, the whatever, and that's the basis. So I took the Napoleonic Code bar and the Texas bar and have practiced in both states. I was a sports agent. At 40, I kind of quit everything. I hated practicing law and got into sports and spent all my savings and worked with some very significant NFL agents. Almost signed a couple of really good guys. Signed a couple of good guys. And then my big break came in baseball, which isn't my forte, but I guess my skills with people and contracts and knowledge and knowing when to ask questions to be certain that the clients are taken care of rather than making up something and possibly harming not only their career but maybe their life at home. I mean, I like everything to be family, and I like to be honest and open and give the truth, and it wound me up with Beverly Hills Sports Council, known for Canseco and Bonds and Timmy Litzicum, and after my head injury, things just kind of go cattywampus, and when I don't have my phone with 10,000 contacts for 6 years, I haven't had an inbound call in 6 years. I have no way to contact anybody, and I have just been abandoned, literally. But God's keeping me strong, and I don't always look like this. With TBI, you have difficult days, good days, and I just want to keep following my dream, and I figure I better just get out there and start doing something. So this is it. This is a pretty weak studio, but this is gonna have to do. So I always thought it would be funny to be a color man or be a anchor man on one of the shows and be like the TBI guy, the guy that knows a lot about the game but has been rehabbing for so long he doesn't remember anyone's names. It's like my roommate was Carnell Hatcher. He's just a outstanding young man. Made mistakes like all of us have, but if you want to get me from being this nicest guy you've ever met to just all of a sudden turning as you judge somebody, as the Bible says not to, because it's almost for certain that you've done something just as bad or worse. So he barely made. He's made a mistake that I made, quite frankly. And great guy. He was drafted and then didn't make it on the NFL team, and he and Derek Frazier. Um, Carnell's mom had called me looking for an agent. He's 2 years out of the league. I was in LA fighting a lawsuit, and I just moved him in my house. And should be a sitcom. I learned so much from them, and they learned so much from me that it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, as it was one of the worst experiences of my life medically. But a lot of football. So the Odell Beckham Jr. class and all that. Those were the guys that were around. Now they didn't come to the house. I was very good about that being me in the four-seam dream, trying to mentor and trying to teach. It didn't all come out great because of my surgery, but I'm not giving up. Told Cornell it might be years, but I'll always be there if you need me, if I can get back going. Found out that the neighborhoods doesn't really take kindly to certain individuals being in their neighborhood. It molded my political ambitions, my legal ambitions, my way that I think about things. A bankruptcy was filed in my name by somebody close to me, and my houses were sold out from under me, and my income dried up. Just about everything you can have, and in a way, it can make you better. I told people, if you've never dug under your Z71 Suburban $80,000 car, touching some what seems to be coins, praying to God that one of them's a quarter so you can get a 40, then you don't know what life is. So I've been through kind of some stuff that we'll talk about. Primarily, I want it to be upbeat. I want it to be about sports. I want to talk about what I know about sports. I want to get into the talk about the SEC, and I want to talk about A&M, my undergrad A&M, my law school, LSU. I was a candidate for an LLM Master's in Tax Law at SMU when I had the injury, but I'm very knowledgeable about it. I just don't know anyone's name now, which I think would be funny. They'd be showing a highlight, and I'd be capable of like doing the dotted line, and this guy's going to do this, and watch how he does this. And then somebody could be like, well, who is that? And I'd be like, I don't know. And, people could take shots at me for being the guy with the brain injury, but I'd be like, well, I don't know really what his name is, but I will. I'll write it down. And, but I sure as hell can tell you what is going on the field with him and what they're trying to do out there. I mean, I was all state, wide receiver and DB in the same year, and punter in the same year. 2A. I'll take it. Anyway, so that's going to be the show. It's going to be about my service dog over here. It's going to be about just whatever I want it to be about. It's going to be about the traveling in NBA. It's going to be about the fact that I think the NBA should get out of this damn defense thing they run and get into a zone and make this thing like the NFL was for a while before Brady started letting the air out of the balls, which, by the way, yes, that helps. Not a little, a lot, a ton. Because even though I was 2A, I was all state, I could catch. If I was not running a 4.9 with my own guy on the clock, I probably could have played ball. But I can throw the ball pretty well too. I just don't have a strong arm. And I can't throw a long out or something. But I mean, I can put it on your digits every time. On throwing the 10, 15-yard passes or 20-yard flies right there. But after that, I just don't have the God-given strength for it. But I know one thing, and this will be another show. Why don't they ever talk about the fact that the ball gets bigger when you go pro? And why does it get bigger? I mean, the basketball doesn't get bigger. The baseball doesn't get bigger. And I have small hands, even though I can catch good. I just knew how, but I can't throw a pro ball as good. So I would think that going into the combine and discussing quarterbacks on all of these different, all the different issues and skill sets that the quarterbacks have to make to make throws, to do this. I would think that at some point someone would say, how's he going to, like the wooden bats, how are they going to adapt to wooden bats in baseball? That's the big key. You know, dialing down the bats, and then most people don't know how they change the ball to get the home runs back up. But I'm sure that's the major leagues trying to emulate their players, but more on that later. But why would they not say, how's this guy going to throw with a pro ball? And if we do call in, somebody can tell me stuff I don't know. Like, do they throw with their own ball? I'm assuming they throw with their own ball in pro day. If they do, that's ridiculous. I don't like the 40 in the combine. I do not think that the 40 is even remotely the best test of anything, unless you are a wideout or a DB, and then even then, only on the plays that you are just all out flying. You just got it down to the metal. But I have a software system now. I don't know how to do the software, but I need somebody with me to do a software program that judges speed and distance based on where a player, especially a DB or wide receiver, is looking. And because they stop, start, shuffle, swivel their hips, keep one foot back planted in case they have to go forward, but at the same time be ready to spin the hip and run, or go out, whatever they have to do, and then make a run for support or whatever. But to have some kind of a software that digitizes how fast are they going from one thing to the other. I mean, you're talking about a middle linebacker who doesn't make it in because of his 40 time. Well, if he busts through the line and the quarterback's 3 yards away from him, what's the difference in time in 3 yards? And did the other guy even get through? We should start running 3-yard 40s. If it's 0.2, that's 0.21. You're out. But I have a software program for that. There are quite a bit of things I'd like to talk about. I love to talk about the SEC. SEC riles people up, but they know. They know. I mean, I've got a friend that's a Buckeye fan, and as a sports person, I respect the Buckeyes. They're a great team. If I'm ever bagging on a team, it's because of really on their fans. But the fans are so obsessed with the SEC that it is just almost so humiliating and embarrassing to listen to them that they don't even get it. They're just always wanting to compare numbers with the SEC, and they're just absurd. I'd like to talk a lot about Johnny Manziel. I'd like to talk a lot about the concussion situation. With me having a brain injury and 2 more surgeries, I'd like that to be a big topic. I spoke quite at length with Gary Stevens, the top jockey in Preakness history, and his wife Angie about the 4-seam dream and concussions, and he quite frankly was on board and had the same feeling as me. In other words, I love the sport of football, and I have ways to produce damage control from a public sector on not throwing football under the bus. And at the same time, he had love for horses, and he opened up with me enough with his wife to talk about his depression from the show Luck being canceled with Dustin Hoffman and those guys. That was going to be a great show if y'all ever saw it. It only went 3 episodes, but it was like The Sopranos for horse racing. But 3 horses died and it got canceled. We had a 6-year contract with HBO, so that's also quite a bit of money. But they get a lot of concussions and head injuries too from what they go through. So it's the Rhino Room. It's gonna change. It's gonna have balls and stuff. I'm gonna flash mad skills. What? And then we're just going to talk about things. I'm going to see if there's a topic we could talk about right now, so I can see if this thing works it all. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Let's talk about players that are trying to get into college and play ball from a young age, working very hard. Let me tell you my take on that and my advice on that. Is there are players, and I knew it. You know, I knew that when I was 2A All State. I mean, I might could have played at a tiny school, but I knew that I wasn't in any caliber of these guys. And when I see parents and stuff and their kid, and they tell me, what 40 they run, I'll ask the kid to check out his character. You really run a 4.2, natural, grass, cleats, no special, and he's like, no. And so what I'll ask him is I'll say, well, look, this is how I got to figure out where I start with advice for you. Because I don't, break any rules. I just kind of give them some advice on what they need to do to improve their chances. And I start off talking about college ball and pro, but I end up finishing with you need to get your scholarship and get into your school, especially if there's somebody I don't know for certain if they're going to make it into football. But I said if you look at yourself, because I knew how good you know how good you are when you're out there out with other athletes playing. And I said when you look at yourself, I go, do you see yourself playing D1 LSU type stuff, Gators, even South Carolina, even Vandy, or do you see yourself in a Big 12 at Iowa or D2 or whatever? And he said D2, and I thought that was a very mature answer for a young high school guy. And so I made a couple of calls. I've gotten a few people in baseball a scholarship at small schools that weren't thinking about it, but they weren't helping themselves. It was like this kid was he had like a 0.01 something sick average as a closer in high school, but he was pissed because he wasn't a starter all year, so he didn't have the best relationship with the coach. And a Christian scout somehow got a hold of me, and I said, I'll just do it for free because I'm recovering from an injury, and I just want to help. And so I was asking them, what videos, and they had nothing. This is a senior year spring. And I said, well, look, and it's when I first kind of feel like I became a professional because I had to let them know. There was no way to be really nice about it. I said, look, y'all aren't even trying. I go, get a gun. I go, I don't care how you get a gun. I go, just get a gun from someone and start clocking his pitches and see what he's throwing. And I said, you need to make a video. I said, he's a good-looking kid. He's an athlete. He's going to have any nerd or any good-looking girl be willing to do anything for him because, nowadays nerds are chic. Good-looking girls are always, I think, going to be chic. But, so the next time I talked to him, the sister had flown in. They had gotten a gun. They had done all this stuff. And I got a call from that scout who was, tremendously more connected with me. I was more of a football person and, just doing this off life experiences and what people should do. And he said, you did it, Michael. He said, they went and apologized to the coach, like you said, and said, thank you for thinking of the team first. And the coach called and got him a scholarship to LSUS. And then the scout called me and got mad because he was not going to talk to anymore because they had not gone and thanked the coach that gave him the scholarship because they wanted something better. So I called, and the dad's driving up with the son from South Texas from an oil field that he worked on. And I said, and the kid told the dad, I heard in the background, no, I did call him. I said, okay, look, this is what you do. I want you to listen, and I want you to shut up. And I want you to do this exactly like I say. Do not venture one word. You're going to call the coach, No, I said, you're going to go to the coach's office. You're going to thank him for the scholarship. Now, he's going to be older. He has a right to forget. I don't know if he did or if he didn't. I don't know if your guy called or didn't. It doesn't matter. This is what you do. You say, thank you. If he happens to say something like, I thought you were going to call or something, just apologize, even if you did. Because if you say that you did, you're going to turn the conversation into well, I didn't think you did. I think you did. You can't have that. You just blow past that and say thank you. I'm very honored. Look him up, Google him, find out what he's done, mention some things. And so the guy called me and the scout and praised me and said, you did it again. And in fact, they now got a scholarship to Northeastern. So that's one of several things that I got no money for, but I found the most satisfying things that I've ever done in my life, and I've done a lot of things. We'll find out here in the Rhino Room. But there's also some litigation going on that is pretty brutal. It's in the sealed environment, and I've been kind of treated like a whistleblower and been brutalized. And I've got paper all over. You can't see it, but I'm going to go over some of that. But I'm going to tailor everything to where it's going to be fun. I'm in a house with other people, so I can't really be blaring the music, like the movie I Want to Be a Rock Star. What, Nickelback, everybody piles on whoever everyone else says to pile on. Think for yourself, please. That's going to be a theme. Do you know who's in the Nickelback video? Dale Earnhardt Jr., Gretzky, Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, the Playboy Bunnies. I mean, okay, first off, that's a plus. They're cooler than y'all. But the song is great. It's got great lyrics. It's awesome. I listen to it all the time to fire me up. And they have that little stoner guy there when they get to that line. And he's going, I'm going to sing all the songs that offend the sense. It's going to pop my pills from a Pez dispenser. Dude that does the pop my pills from a Pez dispenser is priceless. So somebody call in and tell me why everybody hates Nickelback, because maybe it's the rest of their songs. Maybe it's because the singer wears underwear and raises his leg up. I don't know. Who cares, man? I mean, rock stars are rock stars, brah. Come on. So, we got the Rhino Room going. I got to determine how I'm going to do this because I've got a lot of things going on. But we're going to have some fun. We're going to figure out how to do some more things. I've got a TV we can put on, maybe get some music going and get some guests in here. And so at the same time, I've got a law office back. I'm going to try to get back to some contract work, get back on my feet, and then hopefully get my phone numbers back through a federal injunction and get back in touch with all my sports people and get back to doing sports, getting on the field, and then helping the former players with anything that they need, and veterans and homeless, and teach people about how they're just the same as we are and how easy it is to help them because the doctors are very smart, but they have it wrong. What? Oh yeah, you thought that was a fumble? No chance.